Hey everybody, it's Ian of Austin. I wanted to talk about solar today. A lot of people are moving to Austin or live in Austin and they know that it's a very sunny place, right? Like total number of days that the sun is shining. And so because of that, solar has been the topic of conversation for a lot of people. And I wanted to bring on a guest today that can give us some answers, all the answers that we have about solar on our existing homes, solar homes in general, and just all that sort of stuff. So, Ashley, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name's Ashley Tatarzik. I own a company called Urban Soul Energy. I'm really excited to be here with you today, Ian.
I
Thanks for
love it. Thank you so much. So, why don't we get right into it and just ask the big question? Why should people consider solar today?
Okay, no, that's a great question and one that I get all of the time, and I'm super excited to talk to you about it. So I'm actually going to pose a question back to you, Ian. So I know you deal with a lot of realtors. You deal with a lot of homeowners yourself. Tell me, what do you think is the number one reason or the couple reasons why people decide to own their own houses and buy homes instead of continuing to rent?
Oh, you want to lead me into answering it by saying investment, right? Like that. I know that's how it works, but it really is, right? So like you can rent and pay money to someone else's mortgage, or you can invest and build equity in your own home.
Mm-hmm.
The difference becomes like most of the time, getting a mortgage makes sense. Sometimes it can make sense to rent if you're really like, and I mean really good with money or really lucky. And then you can like rent, and then anything you would have paid in mortgage that's different, you could use that for like investing in other things, blah, blah, blah. But that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, most of the time it's because of an investment. Why?
Yes. Okay. I love that because I think those same things are applicable to solar. So the ability to own and the ability to invest into something versus just continuing to rent. So I think in our society, we've been conditioned to believe that the only way that you can get energy is by paying the electric company every month.
Yeah.
You pay out $150, $200, $400 a month towards the electric company. And honestly, people are becoming, awake to the realization that they can get energy from different sources. And solar is a huge one. There's been a huge growth in the solar industry in the last couple of years.
Yeah. That's interesting. So one thing that people may not know about Texas in general, or at least the central Texas area, is that a lot of the suburbs around Austin are deregulated.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they buy a home, in a lot of cases, they can actually choose who they want for their energy provider. And that's a conversation that I have a lot. And so people that are coming from, I don't know, like let's say California or Illinois or New York, I don't think those are deregulated. And so they ask, and they're like, wait a minute, I have to choose my electric company?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if they were thinking solar, that's different. But most of the time, they don't know they can do that. And so, I mean, solar is just another option for them. It's kind of crazy, but all of it, the thing that's interesting is all of it matters when you're looking at like how much money you're going to spend every month.
Right. Exactly.
It's all part of your budget.
Exactly. And I think that that's a really big decision when you're looking at buying a house. I think the second most important thing, other than like, does this house fit me? Is it like going to fit my needs? Is understanding where you're getting your electricity, because understanding where you get your electricity is important because it powers so much of our lives, literally, right? Like where we, cooking meals with our family, watching movies with our family, like building memories around the Christmas tree. Like it's an important part of our lives, like where the kids can do their homework or getting the laundry done. It plays a big role. And I think that people should know that they have the ability to have control over that they have the ability to control where they get their energy, what their budget looks like around that, and around like what kind of energy, right? Clean versus dirty energy.
Wait. Clean versus what?
Clean versus dirty energy.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. I definitely have some interesting facts to throw at you about dirty energy. So I think that's important to talk about too in the conversation.
Interesting. Also, we have we've got this. You may have heard this rumor on the street that we've got this gigafactory from Tesla opening up soon, huh? Heard about that?
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I want to bring that up is because a lot of people don't realize, one, I think the biggest thing is there are a lot of electric vehicles on the road today and a lot more coming from every manufacturer. And Austin is one of those environments where it's kind of embraced.
Yeah.
Like the thought of energy.
Yeah.
And so like I drive an electric car and one of my vehicles is electric and, I charge at my house and I'm like, man, should I get solar? Right. Like we have a couple houses and I just bought this house and I'm like, man, do I get solar on this house? Do I get solar on that house? What do I do? And so it's a really serious question. And so why don't you help me answer it? Like what's the bridge when people realize that solar makes sense for them?
Yeah. Okay. So there are a ton of different benefits when it comes to solar, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them because I don't think we have
Yeah. We don't have to go too deep. If somebody wants to go like super deep, they can just reach out to you. And so for anybody who wants to reach out to Ashley, I'll make sure to put her contact information in the description below so that you can have that private conversation. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What's up?
No, that's okay. No worries. I'll make sure that I do that. So one of the biggest benefits, like we talked about, is owning.
What was that?
Owning your energy.
Owning. Yes. Thank you.
Owning, right? Taking control, saying, I'm going to own my energy, just like your house. So the next biggest thing is the financial piece of it. So most people are like, if it doesn't make financial sense, I'm not going to switch to solar. And I understand that. And so when we look at solar, we're looking at a couple different factors. And we're going to look at, things like how much energy they're using in their house. We're going to look at how big is their roof? How much sunlight are they getting? If they've got trees or anything shading their roof, we're going to take that into consideration when we're looking at how to build a solar system for someone. So if you're open to it, I'd love to actually break down what a average house is spending in Austin, Texas for electricity versus solar. I think that would be a really interesting conversation.
But before we do that, I just want to comment that you said solar system, and that made me chuckle. But yeah, let's talk about it. What's up? So yeah, what are the breakdowns?
Okay, no, that made me chuckle too. I always type in solar system in Google, and it pulls up like the sun and all the stuff.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what?
It's probably industry speak. Sometimes I get that.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about an average house in Austin, right? So if you're looking at a 1,500, 2,000 square foot house, 3 bed, 2 baths, you're looking at an average electricity bill of about $180 to $200 a month. That's on average. But the one thing that we do need to take into consideration when doing an analysis like this is looking at how much your electricity bills are going to increase as time goes on. Because I think
people don't think about that.
They don't think about that.
They don't. Mm-hmm. Because electric is a moving number, or the cost of electricity. Sorry, the cost of energy is a variable, constant variable, always changing based on not just how much you use, but what the rate is.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Just like taxes, people.
Just like taxes.
Just
exactly.
like taxes.
Just like gas. I think everyone talks about gas, right?
Yeah. It's no different. People just, they don't think about it similarly for whatever reason, but okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember when I was like 12 and my mom was pumping gas and it was like 99 cents a gallon. I think I just aged myself there pretty badly, but like, 99 cents a gallon. And so the price of anything, inflation, right? Goes up 2, 3.
You know what's funny about that? That's pretty much what I pay to fill my car at my house. Might be less than that. It's probably less than that. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Everyone switch over to electric vehicles.
Well, they are. Like all the big companies are like, yeah, we'll have electric by 2025, 2030, 2040. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So if I'm looking at this analysis, excuse me, of that house that is spending $200 a month on electricity, in 25 years, their average bill is going to be about $533 a month.
For just electric.
Just electric.
Got it. Okay.
So versus solar. Let's jump into that in a second.
Okay.
So if they're spending about right now $200 a month, that's $2,400 that they're spending towards electricity. I don't know about you, but I think I could spend $2,400 on something other than electricity. So
I'm looking around. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Easily. Every year, right? Yeah. So I want to talk about what that looks like. If your average bill is now $533 a month, you're spending about $6,400 a year on electricity. That's crazy.
I'm afraid for 5 years from now.
I'm afraid for you.
Okay.
So if you look over time, long term, that's $100,000 that you're spending just on electricity. Just on electricity.
Big numbers.
It's a lot of money. So the big benefit is solar. So I'm going to give an average like a range. I will preface by saying that each house is different. It's not a one size fits all.
Of course.
There's a lot of factors. I always encourage people to sit down for a solar discovery call and we can go over what that looks like.
Disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you, right? We got to do that all the time. All our industries, we have to disclose that, we know what we're doing, but you got to talk to this guy if it's related to money or insurance or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm looking at a system to cover the amount of energy for that house, that 3-bed, 2-bath, right? We're looking at anywhere from about 35 to about 47,000. Now, the one thing that I should preface and say is it's no money up front for people to switch to solar.
Okay. So zero down.
Zero down.
For everybody or just for some people?
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody. Zero down.
Well, hold on. Is this for people that, I'm assuming they have to get a loan, right? So that means they have to have decent enough credit. Hopefully if they bought a house, they have decent enough credit, but they still have to have, it's going to be on your debt. Right? Okay,
correct.
Just making sure.
Yep. Nope. That's a good point. Correct. When people bring that up as like a question a lot, like, what about that debt? We can go into that. But the one thing to just note is that when they're looking at debt, they're looking at the monthly, and it's actually not going to be that much monthly. So you're looking at a bill of about 120 to 150 versus
120 to 150 for the hardware. Because I know you're going to talk about some different numbers, right?
Nope. That's all the numbers. That's everything.
Okay. So 120 to 150 a month. Okay.
Yep. Versus the $180, $200 a month.
I see. Okay. So what you're saying is it reduces your monthly payment. And that includes both the hardware, and does this also include you getting energy back from now I'm going conspiracy in here. If I wanted to live off grid, right? If I wanted to just put solar panels on my house and it's super sunny, and we'll go into the batteries and charging and all that after, but I want to put solar on my house. I hear a lot of people saying, oh yeah, and the energy company pays me to have solar on my house. Help me understand that.
Okay. So that concept, or what you're talking about right now, is a program called net metering. So
net metering, okay.
Net metering, right? So net metering is actually going to change utility to utility company. So it's not always the same. That's why I always tell people, come and sit down and we'll talk about your utility company. I'll do that research.
So when you say it changes per utility company, that would lead me to believe it also changes per area.
It's just utility. So each utility makes their own net metering policies.
Got it. So how that translates for me as a realtor, I look at, people are moving, if they're moving into Austin proper, in the city limits of Austin, they have to use that energy company. And so we have to, basically what you're saying, we have to follow their net metering policy.
Correct.
But if they move to a company like Whisper Valley, everybody's got solar out there. It's actually required for your homes. Or if you move it into Georgetown or let's say Lago Vista, each one should have a selection of companies and their net metering policy. We need to know that before we would consider purchasing solar.
Yeah. And do you know what's great about my company is we're a consulting company. So I'll actually do that research for you. I'll research a lot of different things for my clients. So I'll check out local and federal tax credits that are available. I'll look at their net metering. I'll check out, I'll do an analysis of their house. I'll do that's what I'm really great at, is I'm great at finding that information out. So if I've got a client that's coming in at from TXU or Encore, I'll research their net metering for them.
And I'll tell you, I have a lot of people that are I'll just get it from TXU. I'm like, don't do that. At least look at your other options. Even if it's not solar, please look at your other options. They are the most expensive all the time. That's my opinion. TXU, don't come after me. I'm just saying. Okay.
Don't sue me, TXU.
So do people have to pay you for this consultation?
No, the consultation's free.
Free. All right. I mean, it comes in, you get paid on the back end when you hook them up with a program, right?
Yep. Correct.
Yep, it's the same as me. If I never help you find a house, you don't pay me. I mean, I could write that into a contract. I don't do that. That's lame.
Correct.
No, I get you into a house and then I get paid by that house, by the house itself. So
yeah, exactly. So same thing. I don't make any money until they decide they want to go for it, just like being a realtor. So my job is just to kind of search and figure out the best option for them, what fits for them. Just like a realtor, how you can show them 10 different houses, I can show them 3 different options for solar, whatever it's going to be. And so that's just my job.
Okay. So where do we go from here? We know kind of what the cost is. We don't know. We know based on the size of the house. What else would you tell me? If I'm interested, I'm like, okay, that all sounds good. And I say, what else? What are you going to say?
I would talk about a couple things. I would talk about break-even points. So break-even when it can all of a sudden you're like, okay, this cost of the system just got paid for. For most people, that's between about 8 to 10 years. So what that means is people can either pay 8 years of electricity bills, or they can pay for a solar system that lasts them for 25 to 30 years.
So, and when you say it lasts for 25 to 30 years, are we guaranteed that it'll last that? And if not, what happens?
Good questions. Okay, I like it. Yes. There are warranties on panels. There's 25-year warranties on most products. And that comes with like workmanship warranties, labor warranties, roof penetration warranties. They all change a little bit depending, like I said. But yeah.
Crazy storms like what happened earlier in 2021?
Yeah. So any good panel worth their salt has going to have gone through what they call extreme weather testing. They're gone through hail damage testing, heavy load testing, wind, heat, etc. So it's called thermal cycling, the heat, when the heat drops. So any good panel that's worth its salt, like I said, is going to go through that testing.
Okay. All right. So, but if there is some kind of damage, who covers that damage? How's that taken care of?
Another great question. I like it. So depending on what kind of damage, are we talking about like some kid with his hammer going up on the roof? Or are we talking about like?
Yeah, I have kids on my roof all the time with hammers.
You never know. You never know.
Right.
So if it's something like your kid with a hammer up on the roof.
They were swinging. That's the thing. They were swinging. They went a little too high and they had a hammer in their hand. They're like, why? Why were you up there? I don't know. I don't ask questions. I just know it happened.
Yeah, exactly. No. So if that's the case, that's covered under your insurance. That's covered under your
homeowner's insurance. Okay.
Correct. We can talk about that in a second. But if it's something internally with the panel, say a piece of the panel is not working, one of the inverters not working, etc., those are usually covered under warranties.
Okay. So you said one of the inverters is not working. What if something happens to your roof?
Like, give me more of an example.
Oh, I don't know. Like there was a storm and your roof is damaged, but the panels aren't. Like somehow some of the shingles on your roof are damaged and they have to remove the solar panel, or somebody has to come and do something to the solar panels to access your roof. There's a hole in your roof and there are solar panels around it. What do you do?
That's a really good question too. So there's a couple things. So the first one I tell you is a lot of roofers that I work with, that I'm connected with, they'll actually just work around the system. So if you look at solar systems, they're placed pretty flush to your roof.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of, everything that's hitting your roof is hitting the solar panels instead, that are pretty good.
So if there's a hole in your roof under the solar panel, it came from below is what you're telling me.
No. I'm saying that if like, say your roof gets damaged from a hailstorm.
Yeah.
The hail is not hitting the roof where the solar panels are. They're now hitting the solar panels instead.
Yeah.
So you can either fix around what's there, because a lot of times actually I've seen pictures of homes out in California or businesses out in California that have had panels on since the 1960s and their roof underneath it is in like great shape.
They've had solar panels that long? I mean, I knew they had electric vehicles in the 70s and stuff, even way before that, but I guess I didn't know they had solar panels for that long.
Solar is actually...
Why are they so bad? They're horrible. Or they used to be. They're a lot better now. And that's why I love this conversation, because I know that it's a reality for many more people that are buying homes.
Right. So I read a statistic the other day that said solar panels been around for about 50 years now. And what it's taken in 40 years of the industry to grow has happened in the last 3 years in the solar industry. Because there's been so much awakening around people switching to solar. People are understanding the benefit of it. They're understanding why it's a good reason to switch over. And so it's grown exponentially. Just in every year, there's a 42% annual increase in homes switching to solar every year in the US.
And we have a lot of homes.
We have a lot of homes.
We have a lot of people moving into homes. especially in Austin, the
especially
Austin
in,
area, you know?
it's a really big boom for sure.
Now, would you say that you feel that it's necessary for people to consider solar in Austin suburbs, in Central Texas, in the great state of Texas, in America? like how far does it matter?
All of the above. I think that everybody should at least sit down and see if solar would be a good fit for them. Because I think that in most areas, there's a lot of great net metering policies, especially in Austin. Austin's got a great net metering policy. They pay you back for energy that you send back to the grid. So I think everyone should be looking into it.
But this is, so let's go back and say, this is assuming that you plan to stay in that property for 8 to 10 years minimum. So if you're buying a house and it's going to be a 30-year investment, that, and you're going to have to pay the electric bill for 30 years, then it's a great benefit, right?
So here's what I tell people. Homes now are even selling with solar. People are understanding even buying homes with solar. So I've got people that ended up having to leave after 5 years. That's fine. They can do a couple options. They can just transfer the balance over to the new homeowner, or they can add some equity to their house. And I think that's an interesting conversation too.
Yeah. I've done that a few times where someone is selling the home with solar, both paid off and not paid off. And I've seen like lease transfers and all sorts of things, but it's good for people to know, but I'm assuming that whoever they sit down with to understand the solar process, they'll go over that particular policy. So transition, what happens during a transition of ownership for a home.
Exactly. And I do want to just note down, because I heard you say lease. I want to make sure that it's known that we don't do any leases here in Texas. So it's
in Texas, let me take a step back. You're saying people in Texas don't do solar leases today.
No, I'm saying I don't deal with leases.
Personally. Your company.
Yep. We don't
Got it.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, but that's a personal opinion. I like that, you focus on the ownership of the product versus leasing the product, but everybody has their own thing. So, okay. So I think the next question would be like, what's different between your company and so many other companies out there? So like I told you, I have an electric vehicle. I have a Tesla, and I like the car product. I know they have a solar like roof. They have the solar panels. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I buy a Tesla? But now I've got you on here. So like, what's the difference between your product and some of the competitors you have?
Okay. So my business, I call it a solar consultant sales firm. So we are more of the sales organization.
Got it.
What we do is I actually partner up with a couple different installers that offer different products. So the benefit of my company is that I will actually sit down and I can get 2-3 different proposals for you. I can walk you through all of the benefits of that, do the research on your behalf on net metering, federal tax credits, walk you through contracts, keep you updated throughout your project, etc. So a lot of times people sometimes will talk to a company and they can only get one proposal, right? Whereas I can get you multiple proposals.
Yeah, I shot myself in the foot. I was like, she's a solar broker. Like that's kind of what you are, right? Like you look at all these different places and then you come up with the best solution for me. I don't know why I asked that question.
No, it's okay. It's a good one. So actually interesting. I think realtors say, that's a term for realtors, right? They usually say brokers, like a realtor broker.
So I've actually discovered that ends up being the thing for almost any industry where you're offering options, right? Like they might not use the word broker, but for mortgage, for insurance, either you can only offer your product or you can offer a bunch of varieties of product. And so I just use that kind of as a blanket statement, broker.
No, it works. Within the industry, we call it a dealer, but same concept. I think it's just
a dealer. Brokers or dealer. Yeah, we deal houses for all other companies. That's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what we do. Is my biggest thing with my clients is all about educating them and making sure that they know their options. And I can talk about hundreds of different types of panels, types of finance options, inverters. I can go in detail about tax credits and local incentives, net metering, all of that. I want my clients to feel like they have the most knowledge to make the best decision for their homes.
That's the perfect spot for me to say, anybody who's watching this video, if you find value in this video, go ahead and press like. But if you have questions about solar, add it in the comments, because Ashley will come back and answer those questions for you in the comments. And if it's a question for me, I'm just going to look at it. I might not answer it, but I'm just kidding. I will also go into the comments and answer all those questions. So I appreciate everybody who's watching. So, all right. So then the next question I think I would have is help me understand like the power wall concept. Why would somebody get solar and not get one of these power walls other than cost? Because obviously they're expensive.
Okay. You want to talk about why they wouldn't or why they would?
You choose.
Either one? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why they would first, because I think we should go that, and then we can go the other way.
Right.
So,
and I have my opinions. But
okay. I'm open to your opinion.
You're the expert.
I am the expert.
Yeah.
So what I would say is the reason that people are interested in Tesla Powerwalls, P.S., that's not the only type of battery system that's available.
Correct. I've discovered that recently because I was looking. I'm like, should I get a Powerwall? Should I do this? Should I do? So anyway.
Yes. There's N-phase, N-charge batteries. There's SunPower, SunVaults. There's LG Chem batteries. There's lots of different options. But Tesla is so great at marketing that everybody just associates battery with Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, a lot of times reasons why people would decide to do a battery is if we think about that storm that happened back here in Texas with that snowstorm, losing all that power. If you had solar and a battery, you would have had options to keep heat in your house or charge your phone or turn on your Wi-Fi, whatever it is. So those are big reasons. I always consider batteries to be a return on emergency is what I call it.
Ooh.
So right? Return on emergency. So you know that you're spending a little bit of extra money, but you know that you have power for your house if you're in a dire situation like that again.
You know, I try to tell people it's like a generator, like a whole home generator, right? When your power goes out, you have a generator kick on. That's what most people are familiar with. And having a battery that stores energy from the solar panels, as soon as your power goes out, you're using this generator kicks on. It's just electric and not gas powered. That's it. Or
Correct.
Geothermal or whatever, right?
Correct. The other big thing, it's not as applicable here in Texas due to their utilities, but in places like California, if they have time of use charges, meaning they get charged between 4 and 8 higher rates or 5 to 9 higher rates when everybody's home, a battery can actually be really useful then too. It's called load shifting. So what you can do is you can use your battery energy during high peak charge times as well.
So I really like that. And I actually know of a couple companies, at least over the last few years, they did do that, where they would say, you can choose. So you would choose how your energy usage was, and you can choose what plan. That's what it was. Kind of like a cell phone plan. Yep. You want to just have, a certain number of like gigabits that you're using, or you just want unlimited. And it was kind of the same thing with these energy companies. They would say you could have just, most of your time could be between 6 and 9 p.m. Yeah. That could be your peak hours. Or you can say, just spread that money across the entire day. And so I like that. I would love to be able to put those peak hours in and then load shift it off of those hours.
Yeah, exactly. So for a lot of people, that's a really big benefit, knowing that they have the ability to produce energy from their solar system and have it stored in their battery for those like emergencies and the load shifting. So those are, but the other thing that I think, right, if we're going to swing the other way and kind of talk about what would be reasons people wouldn't look into a battery, there are reasons for that too. Expense being the biggest one. So most of the time, right, we talked about financial side of solar. Most people switch to solar for the financial benefits. Like
thinking they can save money.
Exactly.
Right.
Most of the time, if you're getting a battery, I'm going to be upfront, I'm probably not saving you money because the cost of batteries are higher than your electricity.
And what was that term you used?
Return on investment and return on emergency.
Return on emergency. I'm going to write that down. Okay, I'm done. I wrote it down.
Quick writer you are.
Thanks.
Yeah. Very fast.
Return on so most of the time if someone does I say Powerwall, it's like Kleenex tissue, people, right? Like you say Kleenex, but oh my gosh, see, I'm bad. Kleenex is the brand, tissue is the thing.
You can call it a backup battery.
Backup battery, yeah. All right, backup battery, yeah. But I like saying Powerwall because they were the first good marketing, I think is what you said. So
They are. I will tell you that Tesla is great. As far as I'm getting information, they're about 6 to 12 months backed up since that storm here.
don't tell people that. I was just going to share my referral link. So if anybody does want to buy Tesla, no, what's going to happen is if anybody does want to buy Tesla, a Tesla Powerwall or Tesla Solar, I will introduce them to you and then give you my Tesla Solar link, and then we both win.
Deal. We're both winning. I like when both people win.
Right? We all, and not just us, but like everybody who does it, because it's a mutual benefit. We're educating you people too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
All right. So what are we missing? Is there anything that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah. So can I talk about a couple more benefits? Can I talk about the environmental side?
Please. Well, hold on. Is this the right channel? Yeah. Go ahead.
It's okay. Okay. So there's a couple other benefits that I think are really important.
Okay.
You note down. One of them, like, right, we're talking about financial. The other thing is locking in rates. So we were talking about that gas example, right? 99 cents a gallon. If you and I could have locked in gas at 99 cents a gallon, I'm pretty sure both of us would do that.
But we couldn't see the future.
Couldn't see the future, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But now that we know the price of electricity is going up, you can actually lock in your rates for solar.
So let's hold that thought. The reason why this is so important is because people are stuck on the concept of low interest rates and low property taxes. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you're buying a house and you're like, the interest rates are low, and you understand why that's important to you, it's a direct correlation to this conversation right here with you purchasing solar. If you can lock in that rate of energy usage, that's powerful. How long can you lock in this rate?
You can lock it in for whatever term you pick. And then after you pay it off, you own it. So let's say
you own that. Oh, you own the panel. Got it.
You own everything from the panel. So let's say you want to do a 15-year term. Okay. You lock in your rates for 15 years. Now, after that, all of that energy that comes with it is yours. You own all of that energy. So if your panels are lasting 30, 35 years, you got 15 or 20 years of all that energy that you don't pay anything for. And
so then if I'm in the right area with the right net metering policy, I might actually have a net positive where where I'm basically making money from the energy grid because I'm pumping energy into it and getting dollars out of it.
Yes, kind of. That one's a little tricky, but kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. Again, situational, but yeah, I think that I like the correlation you made between the mortgage rates and the locking in the rates. Same thing. So, are you familiar with the term kilowatt hour, kWh?
I am, but why don't you explain it for everyone?
Got it. So, kilowatt hour, kWh, is something you're going to see on your bill. It's basically just a measure of energy that you're using in your house. Mm-hmm. So, if you're plugging in your phone, that's about 1 or 2 kilowatt hours that you're using. So on a yearly basis, for this example that I've been giving, a $200 bill, you're using about 16,000 kilowatt hours per year. And you're paying the electric company by the kilowatt hour.
Right.
So in your area, right, Austin, central Austin area, San Antonio, it's anywhere from 12 to about 15 cents per kilowatt hour, which is equal to $200 a month.
I've been lucky before, and I've had like a 9% kilowatt hour locked in for a year or two. Yeah, it was great. Those days are gone. But it was
don't have to be gone. You can lock them in with solar too. So with solar,
I just went and bought an electric car. I was like, I don't want to deal with this.
I get it. I understand. So yeah, so if you're looking at 15, say you're paying 15 cents per kilowatt hour, you can now lock in solar at 11 cents or 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Nice. And that will stay that way until your term's up. And then, like I said, you're going to own all of the energy that's created from that solar system after. You don't pay.
And I'll make 4 cents or I'll make the 15 cents.
What do you mean?
Like after I own it, after I've paid it off and based on the net metering policy, I want money back, right? Like that's the whole reason I'm getting this. Right?
So
you know what else? It could also be kind of like an equity absorption conversation, right? Like you buy a house and you're always paying taxes, but the value is going up. So even if you're not getting money, you don't get money until you sell your house, but the value is always increasing.
Okay. Let's if we're talking about value, I have a proposition here. So let's say in this example, we've got a $50 a month savings.
Yes.
If you turned around and put that money into a Roth IRA, say that was
Yes.
10%, by year 25, you're getting about $64,000 on that return. So
That's all you had to say.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's you look at
So
that.
Say it again.
If you look at that, right, you're saving if you put that into a Roth IRA, you got about $64,000 just from the $50 a month savings, plus the amount that you're not spending on electricity, which is about $70,000. So you're looking at about, I'm terrible at fast math, you're looking at about over $130,000 just for switching over to solar, right? That's savings.
Are you trying to sell me on this podcast?
Is it working?
It's so funny because, you know, I'm big into tech. I mean, I don't know if it's obvious, but I really like that kind of stuff, right? And the conversations around Web3 and energy usage for creating things, right? Like I have a lot of lights. Everything in my house is automated. My car is electric. The only thing I'm missing is a freaking solar panel and what do you call it? Battery power pack. I was going to call it Powerwall. And I'm trying to think, I mean, it's no different than the battery in your cell phone, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I carry around, it's funny because I actually have emergency. I've got the Jackery. I've got the Yeti one because Yeti Goal Zero. Like I've got a bunch of those packs around. But when it comes to a whole home, I'm always like gas. Like it's just, the concept had escaped me. And it's probably because I was moving to Texas and I got the, oil brain for a minute. And I'm like, no. Let me take a step back.
It's actually funny, like talking about Texas being like the oil state.
Yeah.
I've actually helped quite a few guys in the oil industry switch over to solar, which is kind of ironic in a little bit of a way.
Old school Texas mentality is about to shift tremendously. I don't think people like all the cars, right? You're going to have planes that are flying. You're going to have all these, the sun is something that, I mean, it's not going to go out in our lifetime. So the solar power, Tesla and other companies like that are putting a lot of money into energy investment in general. They're going to, crude oil.
It's kind of the thing of the past. So like I'm all about statistics, right? Like I love researching. So before this podcast, I was like, okay, how much energy can you get from the sun? And I was actually reading the amount of solar energy or sun energy that you can get from 1 hour from the sun that hits the earth could give enough electricity to all of the homes in the world. 1 hour.
1 hour. See, and that's incredible. I heard not that same stat, but I heard a stat about like square miles, something like, I don't know, let's say it's 2,400. And don't beat me up. Actually, if you're going to beat me up in the comments, put like the actual number, but let's say it's 2,400 square miles of solar panels out in the middle of Nevada could power the earth or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And we just need to do it. And the problem is it's all politicized with, well, I own this land. Am I going to make the money off of that? And who's going to develop it? And who owns the solar? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we're like, we're conspiring. But what else? What else do we need to know?
I think, right, like though, if we're talking about the sun and utilizing that, it's kind of getting away from that term that I said earlier about like dirty energy.
Yeah.
So like there is so much resources that go into how we produce our energy. So I was also reading, right, another research thing is the United States uses about 143 billion gallons of water a day to produce enough electricity to power our homes and our businesses. 143 billion gallons. That's
not even flushing. That's just the power part of it.
That's just to create power because
then we drink and then we flush and then we fish and
Then we fish. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, exactly. That amount of water versus like the sun being able to power the whole, earth for 1 year on 1 hour of sunlight. That's crazy. Why aren't we utilizing that? And I think, like I said earlier, I think a lot more people are becoming woke. Is that the term nowadays? Woke, right?
I'm not allowed to say that.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't say stuff like that.
I feel like a Gen Z. I've been hanging out with my niece too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another topic. But yeah, okay. So let's say I'm convinced. What would be the next steps? I'm like, man, I like the sound of it. You sold me so far. I'm at like 89%.
What's the
Like
last?
my battery in my driveway of my car. You know, my car battery.
What's the last 11%? I'm interested in what you're.
Well, that's the thing. That last 11% is I just, I'm on the fence. I've got the money. I've got the time. I'm ready. But you said I don't have to put any money down. So then what? What do I do?
So next steps would be you just got to qualify. So first step, actually, I would say do a discovery call. Sit down. Let me make sure that I can help you, right? Because I'm not. You don't have a good roof or you don't get enough sunlight. I don't even want you as a client.
You don't want me if my roof is too steep. Is that what you're telling me?
If your
or
roof,
something like that. Too steep, like the pitch of the roof.
Right. Too steep where
you can't put it on. You can't put it in my backyard or on my fence.
Do you have an HOA? Because those people are a pain.
That's a point of contention right there. Like you want to talk about something that makes that what grinds my gears.
Is that right?
I was having so I had my patio tore down and I'm like extending it and putting a new cover and all that sort of stuff and decking out the yard and one of the HOA people, actually it was the city. Here's what happened. I got told on, somebody narked on me and they said they put a stop order thing and like mid work. So now it's raining. I've got like all this wet wood and I'll probably have to go and replace that all because the people won't mind their business and somebody's messing with me. And I feel like they're messing with me because I moved into the neighborhood. I'm the new guy. I can say I'm the other guy, like any number of ways, but I just think people can't mind their own business. Get off me.
HOAs are, oh my God.
I'm actually improving the neighborhood, the equity. It looks a lot nicer. I tore down the thing that did not look good and I'm making it better and I'm improving the value.
You're doing a great job. You're doing great.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So the next step is first step, do a solar discovery call, see if it's a good fit. Yeah. Once you decide it's a good fit, we walk through all those options. Then you just need to qualify. So you do need to own your house. You do need to have above a 650 credit score.
So you can't rent.
Nope. Credit
has to be decent enough to buy a house, obviously.
Yep.
And if you just bought a house and your credit score was like 645 when you bought it, you probably can't get solar because when you bought the house, it may have dinged it a little bit because you increased your debt burden. We
do have one or two options for people that are around like 630. It's a little bit different of an option. It's not.
Is it interest rate? Like the interest rate's just increased? Or is it term?
Interest rate is a little bit higher.
Okay. What about the term? Like if somebody has really bad credit, but they want, and they were able to get, I don't know, something like a small house, like a condo or so. And actually you probably can't even do it on a condo, but they had a mobile home and they wanted to do solar on it. Like, let's just say we'll say they get approved.
So you can,
can they do a 45-year solar purchase?
No, 45 years. No, 45. Okay. 25 is the longest term. So 25
year
term.
The house will still be there.
Yeah.
Their payments will be like $20 a month. It's great.
That would be amazing, actually.
It would be. They're doing it with cars.
Yeah.
Right. People are talking about doing it with mortgages and stuff. It'd be ridiculous. You should.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could help with the affordability and okay. So
most people at 25 years can get a lot less and save quite a bit. So it really just depends on what they're looking for.
So it's just your credit. So you have to have a decent credit score. You have to, what else? Qualify that way. You have to own the home. What else?
Own the home. You're going to need to have a good roof. Let's see. You have to be
good roof. So like, how's that determined? What's good mean?
A good roof would be, there's not a lot of trees. You're not completely shaded.
Can't you just come and cut down the trees around my roof? Like, I'm not going to do it. Can you do it?
I can hire someone to do it.
All right. So let's say, in most cases, you can just get rid of that, right? Or you're saying if it's too close, it's going to be a problem. You might actually have to get rid of the tree.
Yeah. For most people here, if you're down in say San Antonio, Alamos Park or something, then there's a ton of trees. All those.
You can't cut them down.
You can't. They're too pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, for most people, if they've got one little tree and they just need to trim it back, fine. It's just, you're going to get the best solar production if you don't have a lot of shade on it, is what it is.
So what you're saying is if you bought a new construction home in the last 5 to 10 years, you're a target client for solar because they have tiny trees. You have tiny trees.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So,
Plus, you're not going to move right out of the house unless there's some like extenuating circumstance anyway.
Exactly. So credit score, own your house, have a good roof, which I'll look for. And then what is this bug around me? Jesus. Sorry.
It's my little logo. You see that thing? You try to swap my logo off the screen.
I'm like, what is coming up? Oh, wait.
Halfway through, I was like, I should remove that. And then I was like, whatever. It's already.
It works. It's fine. Yeah. So then they qualify, and then we take care of everything. So from start to finish, all of their permits, all of the paperwork that kind of goes into that, their installation, all of the panels. I think I got it.
Did you get it?
I got it. I got it. Are you proud of me? Look at that.
Pretty proud. I have a salt shotgun. You load it with table salt and you go, and then you wait for it to land, and then it's not there anymore. It's great.
Oh, I like it. Okay, look it up. I'm writing it down.
It's not solar powered though.
It's not. Maybe we can get
this one.
I was getting a camera for my house, and I was looking at solar powered ones, and I was like, that's kind of cool that there's so much solar powered. Even the lights, right? Like the little lights you can get, solar powered lights.
I'm trying to get solar powered blinds and like rolling shades, so that way I can walk in and be like, hey, Google, do something. And then all my, start recording, and then all of my stuff just turns on. And I have it minus the rolling shades because they were out of stock because of the, CV that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. I was just thinking, okay. Yeah. So when I quote someone, it's everything. It's every part of their project. So It's from start to finish, permits, installation, equipment, etc. What I tell people is it's zero down. You're just reallocating the money you're already spending, putting it into solar instead.
Love it. Nice. Okay.
Pretty easy.
Do you have anything else to add? I think you've answered all the questions I have.
I think that's all. I think if people have questions, like he said, put them in the comment. I'll leave you my information as well.
Did you say he, like Ian said?
Ian said. ianofAustin said.
Yeah.
I'll put all of that information down. So if anybody wants to have a free consultation, if anybody else has other questions, they just want to sit down, I'm happy to answer those questions. I'm not pushy. Like if you just want to sit down and even see if it's a good fit, cool. Hit me up. I'm down.
How many of your clients do you talk to, would you say, like that are qualified to get solar, would you say actually go with it?
Let's see. Probably at least like 40 to 50% of them decide this is a good fit. Now there's some situations where it's like I turn them down too. Like I'm like, you don't have a good roof. I wouldn't want to install solar on your roof. I'll turn them away. Or they don't apply, they can't qualify for the tax credit, or they don't have a good credit score. So things like that, there's some deterrence. There's also too, I think a lot of like, I don't want to say it like this, but like a lack of education around it. And so sometimes people just might see a number and be like, nope, never mind. I can't. That looks like a lot.
They're like, don't call me, I'll call you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
you never hear from, they ghost you.
They ghost. I hate getting ghosted. But I think nowadays it's like, if you actually
back here, Casper.
Yeah. Such a term. I think that like people realize once they actually break down the numbers like we did today, it actually financially makes sense. So why not? Like there's been such a growth in the industry, booming. Like California, for example, right now, their average electricity like that they pay about 40 cents per kilowatt hour. You're talking about like,
oh my gosh, we should have led with that.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. 40
cents per kilowatt hour. I was paying 9 cents per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And then, I ran out of my locked rate, and then it was like 14 cents. And I'm livid. I'm like, 14 cents.
Yeah.
You doubled almost. But
do you know it's
40 cents?
40,
man.
40,
I'm glad our property taxes are pretty high, but everything else is not that.
Do you know what's really crazy though? What? 5 years ago in California, they paid the same price as you're paying in Texas.
Okay, so if people are watching this and they're tracking, know that you can lock in your solar rate. You don't have to put any money down. And as long as you bought a house and you're planning on staying in it for at least the next 8 years, talk to Ashley, because you could potentially invest substantially you have some substantial savings at the end of this investment.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate? An accurate phrase?
That's a good way to say it. I appreciate it.
I love it. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for spending your time. Everyone else who's watching, thank you for being here. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.